These machines are so massive, they make skyscrapers look small. So powerful, they can haul over 100,000 tons of cargo across thousands of miles of desert, mountain, and frozen tundra without breaking a sweat. Some of them stretch longer than 7 kilometers, some generate more horsepower than 200 sports cars combined. These are not ordinary trains. These are the absolute giants of the rail world. Engineering marvels that pushed the limits of what humans believed was physically possible on steel tracks. Today, we count down the 10 biggest and most powerful trains ever built in the history of civilization. Number 10. Union Pacific Big Boy. Let's kick things off with a legend. The Union Pacific Big Boy is arguably the most famous steam locomotive ever built, and for good reason. Constructed between 1941 and 1944 by the American Locomotive Company, also known as ALCO, these massive machines were built to haul heavy freight over the steep grades of the Wasatch and Sherman mountain ranges in Wyoming and Utah. The Big Boy measured an extraordinary 40.47 meters. That's about 132 feet long, making it one of the longest steam locomotives ever constructed. It weighed approximately 540 tons when fully loaded with water and coal. Its wheel arrangement was a 4884, meaning it had 4 leading wheels, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels, and 4 trailing wheels. This unique articulated design allowed the locomotive to navigate curves that would be impossible for a rigid frame of that size. In terms of raw power, the Big Boy produced around 6,290 horsepower and could generate a tractive effort of over 135,000 pounds. At its peak, it could haul freight trains weighing up to 3,600 tons over mountain grades. Union Pacific built exactly 25 of these giants, and they operated until 1959 when dieselization made steam locomotives obsolete. Here's the most exciting part. Union Pacific restored Big Boy number 40114 to operational status in 2019, and it has since toured across the United States, allowing modern audiences to witness this thundering beast in action. 8 Big Boys survive today, preserved in museums across the country. Number 9. The Soviet ER-2 and the VL-85 electric locomotive. Russia has always had a complicated relationship with enormity, and its railway locomotives are no exception. The VL-85, which stands for Vladimir Lenin 85, is one of the most powerful electric freight locomotives ever constructed. Built at the Novocherkassk Electric Locomotive Plant beginning in 1983, the VL-85 was designed specifically for the demanding conditions of the Trans-Siberian Railway. This locomotive operates on 25 kV AC power and stretches to about 46.2 meters in length for a double-unit configuration. What truly sets it apart is its staggering power output. The VL-85 can generate up to 10,000 kilowatts, or roughly 13,400 horsepower. It has 12 axles and can exert a tractive effort of 834 kilonewtons. That's enough pulling force to move freight loads that would seem impossible by any normal engineering standard. The VL-85 was designed to operate in temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius, making it one of the hardiest locomotives ever built. It hauls coal, ore, timber, and other heavy freight across some of the most brutal terrain on Earth, from the Ural Mountains all the way to the Pacific coast. Over 270 units were produced, and many remain in active service today across Russian railways. Number 8. The Garrett locomotive. The Garrett is not a single locomotive, but a revolutionary type of articulated steam locomotive design patented by Herbert William Garrett in 1907. The genius of the Garrett design lies in how it places the boiler on a cradle suspended between 2 separate engine units, each with its own set of driving wheels. This approach allows for a much larger boiler and firebox than a conventional locomotive could carry, dramatically increasing power output while keeping axle loads within manageable limits for lighter track. The most powerful Garrett ever built was the South African Railways Class GMAM, but the most famous examples were the Baya Garrett locomotives built for the East African Railways in the 1950s. The East African Garrett Class 59 weighed 252 tons and was the most powerful steam locomotive to ever operate in Africa. It could haul over 1,200 tons of freight and produced approximately 4,000 horsepower. In total, over 2,000 Garrett locomotives were built for railways across Africa, Australia, South America, and Europe. They represent one of the most creative and effective solutions in steam locomotive engineering history, achieving massive power without requiring the ultra-heavy rail infrastructure that locomotives like the Big Boy demanded. Number 7. The Canadian Pacific SD90 Mac. Moving into the diesel era, the EMD SD90 Mac is a technological marvel of modern freight locomotion. Built by Electromotive Diesel between 1995 and 2002, this locomotive was designed to be the most powerful single-unit diesel locomotive in the world at the time of its introduction. The SD90 Mac is powered by the massive EMD-H engine, a 265B prime mover that generates 6,000 horsepower from a single diesel engine. To put that in perspective, most standard diesel freight locomotives produce between 4,000 and 4,400 horsepower. The SD90 Mac was in a completely different league. The locomotive stretches 24.4 meters in length and weighs approximately 193 tons. Its AC traction motors provide superior low-speed pulling force compared to older DC systems, making it ideal for heavy-haul freight operations on grades and curves. The SD90 Mac was acquired by several major North American railroads, including Canadian Pacific and Union Pacific, and was used in multiple unit configurations to haul some of the heaviest freight trains on the continent. While the H-engine version proved to be mechanically complex, and many units were later re-engined with the more reliable 4,300 horsepower 16710 engine, the SD90 Mac in its original form remains a benchmark in diesel locomotive power. Number 6. The China Railway HXD-1. China's rapid railway expansion over the past 3 decades has produced some of the world's most capable heavy freight locomotives, and the China Railway HXD-1 stands at the pinnacle of that achievement. Developed jointly by China CNR Corporation and Alstom, the HXD-1 is an electric freight locomotive that entered service in 2006. Operating on 25 kV AC overhead power, a single HXD-1 unit produces 7,200 kilowatts, approximately 9,650 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful individual locomotive units in the world. In double or triple unit configurations, these power figures multiply dramatically. The HXD-1 measures 26.3 meters per unit and is designed to haul heavy coal trains across China's massive freight corridors, particularly the Datong-Qinhuangdao Railway, one of the busiest coal transport corridors on Earth. Trains on this line regularly exceed 10,000 tons in loaded weight. The HXD-1 achieves a maximum speed of 120 kilometers per hour, which for a freight locomotive of this size is genuinely remarkable. China has produced well over 1,000 units, making the HXD-1 the backbone of the nation's freight rail infrastructure. Number 5. The Norfolk Southern ES44AC and the General Electric Evolution Series, the GE Evolution Series, known commercially as the ES44AC and ES44DC, represents one of the most successful and widely deployed heavy freight locomotive families ever built. Introduced by General Electric in 2003, these locomotives were designed not only for power but also for environmental compliance, meeting the EPA's stringent Tier 2 emission standards through advanced engine technology. The Evolution Series locomotives are powered by GE's Gevo 12 engine, a 12-cylinder turbocharged diesel power plant producing 4,400 horsepower. While that number may seem modest compared to earlier giants, the Evolution Series compensates with outstanding reliability, fuel efficiency, and tractive effort. The ES44AC variant, using AC traction motors, can produce a starting tractive effort of 182,000 pounds, enough to move a fully loaded freight train from a dead stop on a grade. These locomotives measure approximately 23 meters in length and weigh around 196 tons. Over 5,000 units have been built for railroads across North America, Australia, Brazil, and Kazakhstan. In North America, they regularly haul intermodal, coal, and grain trains exceeding 15,000 tons in total weight when operating in consists of 3 or more units. The Evolution Series may not be the biggest or most dramatic train on this list, but in terms of sheer numbers deployed and total tonnage moved, it is arguably the most impactful freight locomotive of the 21st century. Number 4. The BNSF and Union Pacific Oversized Freight Trains. This entry isn't about a single locomotive. It's about what North American freight railroads achieve when multiple locomotives work together using a system called distributed power. Modern North American freight trains regularly operate with between 4 and 8 locomotive units spread throughout the length of the train. Using radio-controlled synchronization, the lead locomotive communicates in real time with remote units positioned mid-train and at the rear, allowing the entire consist to behave like one coordinated machine. BNSF Railway and Union Pacific regularly operate trains exceeding 3.2 kilometers in length, carrying over 20,000 tons of freight, most commonly coal from Wyoming's Powder River Basin, bound for power plants across the Midwest and the South. These trains typically use anywhere from 4 to 6 GE Evolution Series or EMD SD70 variants, producing a combined output of over 25,000 horsepower. The longest regularly scheduled freight trains in the United States run on the Powder River Basin Coal Corridor and can reach lengths of over 3.5 kilometers with total weights approaching 18,000 tons. These are not experimental test runs. They operate every single day, around the clock, moving the energy that powers millions of American homes and businesses. Number 3. The Australian BHP iron ore trains. Australia's Pilbara region in Western Australia contains some of the largest iron ore deposits on Earth, and the trains hauling that ore to port rank among the longest and heaviest ever built. HP, one of the world's largest mining corporations, operates a private heavy-haul railway stretching over 1,000 kilometers from inland mines to the port of Port Hedland on the Indian Ocean coast. BHP's standard iron ore trains consist of 240 ore cars hauled by multiple GE AC6000CW and Evolution Series locomotives in distributed power configuration. A fully loaded BHP iron ore train weighs approximately 30,000 tons and stretches about 2.4 kilometers in length. These trains operate on schedules rivaling airline precision, departures are timed to the minute, and reliability is critical to the entire global supply chain. In 2001, BHP set a world record that still stands today. The record-setting train consisted of 682 ore cars, hauled by 8 GE AC6000CW locomotives. It stretched an almost unbelievable 7.353 kilometers in length and carried a total loaded weight of 99,734 tons, just shy of 100,000 tons. That train traveled 275 kilometers from the Yandi mine to Port Hedland in just under 10 hours. A single journey moved enough iron ore to produce steel for thousands of cars, hundreds of buildings, and miles of infrastructure. It remains the heaviest train ever operated anywhere on Earth. Number 2. The Rio Tinto AutoHaul. Rio Tinto, BHP's great rival in Australian iron ore mining, didn't just want bigger trains, it wanted autonomous ones. The AutoHaul project, which became fully operational in 2019, represents the world's first fully autonomous heavy-haul, long-distance rail operation. Rio Tinto operates a network of over 1,700 kilometers of track in the Pilbara, served by a fleet of more than 200 locomotives hauling ore from 16 mines to 4 port terminals. Each Rio Tinto iron ore train typically carries about 28,000 tons of ore and stretches approximately 2.4 kilometers. The locomotives, mostly GE ES44 ACI units modified for autonomous operation, are controlled remotely from a purpose-built operations center in Perth, located 1,500 kilometers away from the actual trains. Human operators monitor the system through cameras and sensors, but the trains themselves navigate, brake, and accelerate autonomously using GPS positioning and advanced onboard control algorithms. The AutoHaul system has delivered major improvements in fuel efficiency, reduced brake wear, and fewer derailments compared to human-operated trains. Since going fully autonomous, Rio Tinto has moved over 1 billion tons of iron ore using the system. AutoHaul represents not just the biggest trains in the world, but the future of freight rail, where the largest machines ever built operate without a single human on board. Number 1. The Brazil Vale Carajas Railway. Topping the list is the Estrada de Ferro Carajas, commonly known as the Carajas Railway, operated by Vale in the Brazilian state of Pará. This 892-kilometer railway connects the Carajas mine, the world's largest iron ore mine, to to the Ponta da Madeira Maritime Terminal in São Luís on Brazil's northeastern coast. Standard trains on this line consist of approximately 330 wagons hauled by multiple EMD SD70 and GEES 60 ACI units in distributed power configuration. A fully loaded Carajas train weighs between 40,000 and 45,000 tons, stretches over 3.5 kilometers, and uses 6 to 8 locomotives producing a combined output of over 35,000 horsepower. In 2021, Vale set a South American record by operating a test train exceeding 48,000 tons. The Carajas Railway moves over 170 million tons of iron ore every year, making it the highest capacity heavy-haul railway on Earth by volume. Trains run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with departures every few hours in both directions. What truly sets Carajas apart is the engineering ecosystem behind it. The track is custom-built to handle axle loads of up to 32.5 tons per axle. The rail, bridges, tunnels, and crossings are engineered to standards considered extreme anywhere in the world. Vale has invested billions of dollars in continuous upgrades, advanced train control systems, predictive maintenance, and fleet modernization. When total train weight, continuous operational tonnage, annual freight volume, and system-level engineering are combined, the Carajas Railway stands alone as the most powerful heavy-haul rail operation ever built on this planet. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.